Here's why you should not get this 3D printed Suture Buddy kit. Why practice like a pro when you can just wing it in surgery? This kit is carefully designed to mimic real tissue, but who cares? Nowadays, you fake it till you make it. And besides, you love living dangerously with raw chicken breasts. Nothing says excitement like putting your life at risk with Salmonella, Campylobacter, and E. coli poisoning. Sure, a 3D printed suture kit is safe, but where's the thrill in that? Also, you love burning money on one and done things. Why grab a suture kit that lasts forever when you can keep buying disposable junk? Big spender vibes, am I right? Plus, you think practicing anywhere should be impossible. This portable, lightweight kit is ready to go anytime, anywhere. But that's not right. Medical training shouldn't be that accessible, and everyone knows you prefer a stressful, messy, and chaotic learning experience. A clean and tidy suture kit is too demure for you. So yeah, if you're into wasting money and your sanity on inefficient suture practice materials, don't even think about getting the Suture Buddy kit. But if you're ready to level up your skills, maybe it's time to rethink your choices. Because at the end of the day, we all need a Suture Buddy in our lives. Vertical mattress sutures are done by taking far deep bites across the wound, and then more superficial near bites all in the same vertical plane. When tied with a surgeon's knot, the vector sum of forces points diagonally towards the wound bed, bending both wound edges to the sky and resulting in eversion to allow for better dermis to dermis wound edge approximation. They are great at closing wounds under tension and the best at averting wound edges, but are a pain to remove. So in ancient times, quills and feathers were used to stent vertical mattress sutures and make them easier to remove. Nowadays, these have been substituted with plastic IV lines. In the case of horizontal mattress sutures, you take your bites spaced apart parallel to the wound, and these bites all must reach the same depth. This arrangement also produces good aversion of wound edges, but achieves much better hemostasis by pressing on the blood vessels supplying the wound edge. Whereas a simple interrupted suture only shuts off vessels in one plane, the force of closure between the limbs of the horizontal mattress suture approaches that of an infinite number of simple interrupted sutures between the limbs. This can stop blood flow to the extreme of threatening death and necrosis of the wound edges, so temporary horizontal mattress sutures can be used to reduce tension and offer hemostasis while other sutures are placed. Stay sutures are temporary stitches placed during surgery to align or manipulate anatomical structures. They can be used to hold the edges of an incision open to expose the surgical field, allowing better visualization of deeper structures. One way of placing stay sutures is by taking a bite of subcutaneous tissue. Leave the ends nice and long to secure them with hemostats for manipulation by your assistant, or if help is limited, clamp them to the drapes. Repeat the same on the opposite side, ensuring sutures are placed symmetrically for balanced traction. Another way of anchoring stay sutures is by taking a bite of one edge of the incision and tying a surgeon's knot. Then take a bite away from but parallel to the incision on the same side and tie another surgeon's knot. The further away the second bite is from the incision, the more tension you can apply, but avoid over-tightening to prevent cheese wiring and compromising blood supply. These techniques will not be the best option in every case, so use common sense and do your own research. In the end, make sure to remove all stay sutures to prevent complications. If you want to practice suturing, you can get 10% off the Suture Buddy kit by using the discount code VETVENTURES. Go to thesuturebuddy.com or use the link in my bio. To practice drawing up blood, attach balloons filled with fake blood to the Suture Buddy Venipuncture pad. Place your thumb along the vein to stabilize it and prevent it from rolling around. With the bevel facing up, insert the needle at around a 25-degree angle through the skin. Blood will appear in the needle hub when it enters the vein. If you miss the vein, don't panic. Pull back a little and redirect without fully removing the needle from the skin. This is because the skin has the most pain receptors, so digging around under the skin will cause much less pain than re-poking the skin. Once in the vein, slowly retract the plunger so blood flows into the syringe. If you retract too fast, you will collapse the vein, but if you are too slow, blood will start clotting in the syringe, making it useless for blood work. After enough blood is collected, apply firm pressure to the site for 20 seconds to avoid blood leaking from the hole in the vessel into the surrounding tissue to form a hematoma. If you do blow a vein, quickly remove the needle and apply pressure until bleeding stops. When reattempting venipuncture, always reinsert the needle proximal to the initial entry site, or use a completely different vein. Make sure you change the needle before every attempt, as the needle gets blunt on a microscopic level. You can use the discount code VETVENTURES to get 10% off the Suture Buddy Venipuncture pad. Dr. Robert Liston was the fastest surgeon of the 1800s, famous for amputating legs in under 2.5 minutes. A lifesaver in the pre-anesthesia days when speed was key to minimizing pain. But one time, things got wild. Liston walks into the OR announcing, "Time me, gentlemen," and he starts flying through the operation, going for his fastest time yet. When oopsie, he accidentally chops off his assistant's fingers, resulting in their death from hospital gangrene. Then in the resulting chaos, he swings his knife and grazes the coat of a distinguished surgical spectator. The poor guy thinks he's been stabbed and literally dies of shock. Oh, and the actual patient? Yeah, they didn't make it either, thanks to post-op infection, as antibiotics weren't a thing yet. So let's do the math. 1 surgery, 3 deaths. That's how Dr. Liston scored a 300% surgical mortality rate. Today, 200 years after that deadly surgery is claimed to have taken place, thanks to anesthesia, the focus is on precision. But efficiency still matters. Since suturing can be one of the most time-consuming steps in surgery, you can improve your surgical speed by practicing on the Suture Buddy pad. Get one for 10% off through the link in my bio. Have you ever been unintentionally grazed by a scalpel during surgery? If so, it was probably while passing it around, right? Scalpel blades are insanely sharp and used ones are contaminated. That's a recipe for disaster, like injury and disease in one swipe. No thanks. These are safety scalpels, aka never touch blades. They have a clear plastic cover with a thumb rest that slides the cover down to fully expose the blade. The thumb rest is strategically positioned on top, making it suitable for both left and right-handed surgeons. Always place the sheath in the guarded position when passing the scalpel to someone else, or whenever it's not in use. Like most scalpels, this one also has a ruler built into the handle, perfect for measurements or even biogeometry without needing to open a sterile ruler. Remember to also guard the blade while using the ruler to ensure safety. When ready for disposal, push the sheath past the guard position into the locked position to permanently secure the blade. Once locked, you can never open it again, so make sure not to do this accidentally. While these scalpels are practical, they are less environmental. What if you need to cut surgical sutures with your left hand when your right hand becomes temporarily unavailable? Everyone can cut surgical sutures because you learn to cut things in kindergarten, but using right-handed scissors in the left hand is an advanced technique not many surgeons can do. To train your brain to be able to do this, first take a pair of needle holders in your left hand and grab the loop that is away from you with your thumb and index finger. Then place your 3 other fingers under the loop closer to you. If you push down with your thumb and up with these 3 fingers, you will unlock the ratchet. It's more difficult to lock it again, but repeat these movements for a couple of minutes to build muscle memory and remember what it feels like to move your fingers in this way. Now take the suture scissors into your non-dominant hand and attempt cutting. You probably won't be able to because there's a gap between the blades that is naturally closed when you hold the scissors in your right hand but not in your left. So instead, grab the scissors in the exact same way as you grab the needle holders. This way you can push with your fingers to help the blades come together. Occasionally you'll find that some suture scissors are tightened so much that there is no gap between the blades. In this case, you can hold them exactly as you would in your right hand and they should cut perfectly fine. Use code Venipuncture to get 10% off your Suture Buddy kit and start practicing this technique. This 3D printed suture pad feels so much like suturing real skin that you feel the need to wear sterile surgical gloves while practicing, in order not to give your Suture Buddy a nasty infection. Practicing surgery on bananas and chicken breasts is definitely better than nothing, but might end up giving you salmonella and a poor understanding of how real flesh behaves while being stitched up. So if you're looking for an actual Suture Buddy to practice on, use the code Venipuncture to get a 10% discount. Let's take a tour of all the lacerations on your Suture Buddy. The different sized gaps help mimic the tension in everything from tiny cuts to gaping wounds, so you can gain experience deciding what size suture material and suture pattern is appropriate in each case. For example, this gaping wound is definitely asking for some tension relieving mattress sutures. I'm using 3-knot nylon monofilament suture material because it is strong enough to withstand the tension, smooth enough to reduce the risk of infection, and non-absorbable because we can easily remove it from the skin surface. You'll notice this pad also has raised lacerations that make it easier for beginners to practice grabbing tissue and averting wound edges. It also comes with a surgical stapler, which I haven't seen any other suture kits come with.